Okay, Shabbat Shalom. This is a mic test. Let's just make sure I'm coming through before I play my lecture. I will be here live today in Karachi, and I will play my lecture live. So then I can take any questions that occur over here after my lecture. Not a problem. Let's see. Let me kickstart it. We're about 6 minutes away, but we'll kickstart it a little earlier. It's my 13th November. Here we go.
Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon Altaf Zakoyan speaking in the date. Baruch Hashem, may the name of the Holy One be praised forever and ever. Today, before we begin our lesson, I wanted to give condolences to our Rabbi Hanania, who happens to have left this world last week. You may have heard already from Rabbi Kefa prior week that he sadly departed after a cardiac arrest. He was 72 years of young age. Wasn't really that old. He was a whippersnapper, and he served the Most High faithfully. As I can tell you, faithfully served him for many, many years, as a teacher, as a rabbi, and as a faithful servant. So he was a good man, bright man, and I am pretty certain of this, that he will return back soon in his reincarnated state. So it's not like he's gone forever. He will be back soon in a new body, as a new baby, and more than likely back in America again. So Baruch Hashem, what a great life he lived, and served the yesteryears, served the latter part of his life in Torah. Maybe he was, brought up in Christianity, but served in Torah, latter part of his life, and did indeed serve really, really well. So I give commiserations to his family, and may they have peace, shalom, security, and rest in their minds that they're, the husband of the loved wife, the father of the loved children, is in safe, secure place with the Elohim that we serve, and he will be back soon. So there's nothing untoward this. As we understand our scriptures more and more, we realize that it is not what was taught and what's presently being taught in institutionalized religions of the world. So that's a good thing. A second testimony I wanted to give you, because that was a sad part of the story, but it had a happy ending in that we know that our brother, our fellow Israelite is safe. The second part of the story is this, that I had let's call it a friend, although it wasn't technically a friend. It was somebody that I was invited to meet and help. They needed some help in rent. This person did not have rent to pay, and I helped them with their rent at one time. So we became friends, and the person really highly trusted me. And I told the person, I told the person that, look, I am not an ordinary person, I'm an extraordinary person. And I told her that her coming into contact with me probably wasn't a coincidence, but a God incidence, and that she will benefit greatly and be blessed greatly, as she will see as her life transpires. Because I entered her life, assisted her in a couple of matters, gave her some good advice, and then left. And so she kind of hooked on. Then she would call me here and there for advice, help, assistance in different things. And, she began to see that how her family, or at least part of her family, were very corrupt and just trying to use her for their own profit. And then she kind of steered away from that. Upon my advice, she steered clear of that. Eventually what happened, think about it this way. This girl had nothing to her name. And I helped her at a time when her parents, her own mother and father, flesh and blood, would not support her for various reasons. Because, she came out of a marriage, she got divorced from her husband, and the parents were really angry that why did she get a divorce? Because I guess maybe the husband was a family member of some type, relative maybe, and the father was really against the divorce, so was a mother. In many ways, divorce in this culture is not seen as a good thing. It's seen as a stigma. And that's probably what led to the mother and father not keeping in touch with the girl and also not supporting her. So she was kind of left kind of helpless. And I guess I came into the scene and I did some work in that part of her life to assist her, to let her stand up and make something of her life. And then what happened? I think it took about, I'd say a total of 3 months max, maybe less. I don't think I've been in her life for 3 months yet. Maybe less, maybe 2 months, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, potentially. And what happened, this girl went from nothing, zero, to a double millionaire. She became a multi-millionaire. Let me tell you how. As she was going through her life, things began to change. And I was telling her that, she's going to find her life's going to have dramatic changes. And because I've just entered her life, and I said, you're going to find that a Kohen in the gate is not something ordinary, it's something extraordinary. You will see. I said, if I enter anybody's life, their life cannot stay static. And so she found that things began to shift. Good things began to happen for her. And then the mother made contact and established contact with her. And then after that, it turned out that one of her grandfather had a lot of land, and he'd split the land and allotted a part of the land in her name and her sister's name, and the other part to whoever grandchildren he wanted to give it to. And it turned up that this girl told me that she just acquired $2 million worth of land. Basically, there's a property there, what we call a vacation home. It's a vacation home in a very secluded part of town, and it's worth $2 million. Now, I was very happy for her. She told me this, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So that's great. That's great. Wonderful. I was expecting something good to happen for her, and it did happen. She's become she has $2 million now worth of property. She came to me, and she especially came to me to visit me in my city, and she said, I want to speak to you. I don't trust anybody else over here. I only trust you, and you can give me the right advice of what to do. So, she came to me for advice, and I gave her the advice, and she went, and I'm going to have a few more meetings with her of how to wind up the property and how to, put it in her name and all that, kind of explained a few things. And then I explained to her, the next part will be, I guess, what businesses she can go into, and again, I'll be able to help her in that and assist her. So I'm going to be able to assist her in all the way through wherever she needs assistance in how to earmark a property for sale down the road, not right now. This may happen next year. And also which businesses to invest the money in, because, it's a sizable sum. And you don't just waste $2 million here and there. So I would be able to allocate $200,000 here and, $300,000 there, and maybe make a $500,000 investment for her and let her reap the return of that and hold the other $1.5 million for a later time, and then invest that into potentially other businesses here. And what I would like to do is for her to have businesses in which she's generating multiple streams of income every month. So she can be sitting on, anywhere from, with her, not the full investment, but part of the investment. I want her to be collecting at least $4,000 or $5,000 a month in this country. That's a lot of money. So that's what I'm going with her and trying to help her and assist her there. And I told her, I said, look, I'm a little bit busy traveling and this, that, and the other, as I'm about to travel again to my coastal city again, because they're expecting me. And I told her to hold fire, put everything on hold, get the property in your name. This is how you do it. And assisted her some as well. And so I told her that get it done, and then sit on the property for a couple of months. Let next year come, 2022. Then we'll decide which way we go from there. Which way you should establish your footing, because it's okay to have money, but then if you don't know what to do with the money, you end up losing it. And I definitely will not allow that to happen for her, because she's a single woman. She's pregnant. She has a baby on the way from her previous marriage, and I think she's expecting her son. She's going to be giving birth to a son in 2 months. So it's great that she has a son coming who has a future to look forward to. And basically, she's told me that I cannot trust anybody else, and I need you to assist me. So I said, okay, I'll assist you all the way I can. I'll put you in touch with the right business people, put your investment in the right places, and then, it will be in small chunks, in golden nuggets, so that she can start seeing returns on her money before she decides to commit any more capital. I want her to keep majority of her capital in her bank account, wherever she, once she comes to sell it, and then we'll take it from there. So that's basically how I've been kind of busy. And as you can see, look, just touching this person's life has brought $2 million into her life. And this is just one thing, and over here, people are so greedy that if they see this kind of money, and everybody's around her like bees, her relatives that she left, the ones that, she stayed with, they're around her like bees now, trying to bring her home, and they want to basically acquire the property from her and cheat her out and, keep it for themselves, things like that. But I told her to stay away, so she's staying away. So that's basically, this is great manifesting. Great manifesting. Why? Because, I told her, I said, big things are going to happen for you. Just be happy. Don't worry about things. Don't worry about, the bad marriage. Don't worry about the bad parents, because everything will change in a second. You just focus. Live in a state of happiness. Live in a state of gratefulness. And this is what happened afterwards. So as I keep saying to you, I keep saying to you to live in your state. Now, living in the state is not becoming the state. Living in a state means to occupy or to inhabit a state. And then, let's say a state of a millionaire. You inhabit it. You inhabit the state of a millionaire, and you think like a millionaire, and you act like a millionaire. It doesn't mean you start blowing your bank account. It doesn't mean that you start going and buying a new car that you don't have money for. It's about your inside. It's about your thought processes. It's about how you think. It's about what you think about yourself, how you see yourself in the world. So you see yourself in the world as a millionaire. You see yourself as, you dwell in that state. You inhabit it. And we can switch state to state. Just like as you switch from sadness to happiness, happiness to sadness, sadness to grief, grief to happiness. These are all states. And so you occupy a state for a certain period of time. Creation has been finished. Well, let me go back to creation and read you something from the book of Genesis. It says, Genesis 1:1, in the beginning Elohim powers created the Shemaim and the land. Bereshit bara Elohim alethav hashemayim ve'et ha'eretz. So in this particular scenario, It says the land was desolate and chaotic, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Ruach of Elohim, the Ruach of powers, Holy Spirit, was fluttering over the face of the mind, the water. And Elohim power said, light be, and light was. Look, let's personify. What does this really mean? How do we see it in a mystical way? How do we interpret this? Yes, the land was created at one time. Yes, everything was created at one time. Now put yourself in Elohim's place. Put yourself right now in that place where Elohim is speaking from, where God is speaking from. In the beginning, God created the Shemayim and the land. Same way, you might think that you're creating. That's okay if you think like that. Nothing wrong with that. You're creating, but technically you're not creating. You're actually picking. You're choosing. You're choosing what you want. And it says the land was desolate and chaotic. And yes, your life might be desolate. Your life might be chaotic. There might be darkness in your life. Nothing is there. And suddenly, light comes and light is. That's where you want to be. So you want to choose for yourself. Choose a state. So God is showing you that you're in the form of not so much creating, but calling out. Just like God calls out. And I wanted to show you something really, really important. I want to understand it. And for that, for me, I have to go to Exodus chapters 20. Let me find Exodus chapters 20. Exodus chapters 20. Here we are. And I wanted you to take you to this particular commandment, which says in verse 4 of Exodus 20, you shall not make for yourself a carved image, but any likeness of anything that is in the Shemayim above, is the heavens above, and the earth beneath, that is in the waters under the earth, Maim under the earth. What does that mean? It means that you will not bow down. You will not technically bow down to an external deity of any type. Meaning that God is within you. If God is within you, if the kingdom is within you, where would you bow? You bow to yourself, technically. Right? So, if God is within, then it's within you seek God, not outside. It means that you will not bow down to, not talking about idols here. Don't confuse with idols like a statue of Jesus or something, and people bowing to it, or a statue of some Hindu deity and people bowing to it. No. Because those things you do not have to do. Even for those people, they don't have to do that. But that's what people do. People want religion. People want institutionalized religion to feel happy and feel comfort. Because they get some comfort out of it. They'd rather bow down to something and they feel comfort. People, face Jerusalem and they bow down to the wall. At least they think they're bowing down to the God of the Hebrews, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But really, there is such a thing as giving gratitude to God. Yes, there is. And there is such a thing as bowing down to something external. And what brings you what you want? Billions of people on this earth today bow down to something. Billions of people. In institutionalized religions of the world. Look around yourself. Look at all the religions around yourself and look at how many people bow down to different deities by different names in different places, different areas of the world. I don't think I have to repeat. I don't have to say the names. You are all wise enough to know what names I'm talking about. So if we have been instructed in the Torah not to bow down to any other powers, that means everything out there. That includes everything. Statues of, Mary, Jesus, any other statues of any type. Meaning that we are not to derive power or, let's say, manifestations. We are to derive or desire our manifestations through God only, our God. that is within us, that walks by us, that directs us where we go. But the desire is ours. The desire is not God's. God is not there to produce, tell me what desire I should have. This idea that you hear in Christianity often, the Lord knows what I want. No, the Lord does not know what you want. You should know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, why should He give you what you think you want? Why should He do that? He is not going to act out of His own volition. He is waiting for you to decide. So then He can act on your volition. And if your volition is zero, then His volition for you will be zero as well. This is why many people today, and have been for the generations that they've been praying to an external deity, they've got nothing to show for it. They pray for years and years and years, nothing happens. And then, of course, the so-called pastors out there, the clerics and whoever else, they'll tell you that, well, maybe you didn't pray correctly, maybe you didn't pray hard enough, maybe you didn't face the right position, maybe you didn't bow hard enough. Whatever. They'll give you a million reasons to make you think that you did something wrong. The only problem is you fundamentally broke the commandment in the Torah that you've been trying to get power. You're trying to manifest your desire from an external power, external deity, external God. You've been, putting your head in the cloud, so to speak. And you think God's going to come out of the clouds for you. Whilst God is right here, on this plane, on this earth plane. He is within you, and is for you to access. Your imagination is the key. Your imaginative act is the key to unlocking that door that will release your desire. That will, you basically made a conception. Call it an immaculate conception. You don't need anybody else to make that conception. You made that conception by yourself. You decided that you need something. What is that something? It could be a pile of money. It could be a car. It could be an apartment. It could be a marriage with somebody that you're desiring. Or, desiring a specific person that you want to marry. Or you're desiring that a person will come for you from somewhere out there who will love you, take care of you, and you desire that person, he'll be good with you. All of those are great things. There's nothing wrong with them. They're all desires. And these are all states. So God has told us not to go into a state in which we seek another power, another deity of any religion, and try to produce our desire through it. Theoretically, that's the gist of the command. Theoretically. But isn't that what everybody does? Why do people go to Israel? Why do they go to the Wailing Wall? Why do they go to this Church of the Holy Sepulchre? Why do people go to Rome? Why do they go to the Lords of France? See, people are searching and seeking everywhere. Yet, for those same people, it's, what they are seeking is right there, where they are. But they're not realizing that. And millions of people in this planet today are walking like zombies, thinking that something external is going to give them their desire. How many women I know in this country that go to shrines to pray for receiving offspring? Or maybe, there are men going to pray to receive good businesses. It's all futile. It's all futile. Because it's within you. God is within you. And all you need to do is activate the God self. If you can activate the God self, which is known as the new birth, renewing of your birth, that is when you're really born again. You're born again when you activate the God self. Otherwise you're dead. You're just like everybody else out there, and it's not going anywhere. 1 minute is one thing, then it's another thing. You're getting everything mixed. Your desires are all mixed. You're not getting what you want, but you're getting everything you don't want. And that's because that's how you've been programmed. Programmed by the media, programmed by the tabloids, programmed by school teachers, programmed by your job supervisors and everybody else. This is how you're programmed. And you follow that program, and life is getting difficult and difficult, ridiculous and ridiculous, until either you break down or you completely, say, that's it, hands up, I don't care about anything. I've got to seek for myself. So, seek within. Seek the kingdom of God within. Seek your desire within. Now, talk about states. We are talking about states. A state. What is a state? A state is basically a revolutionary idea of what you are desiring. Now, being a millionaire is a state. Being a proud husband is a state. Being an excellent wife is a state. Being a great father is a state. Being, a businessman with several businesses is a state. So, what you do, you live in a state. And you are not the state. When you as a person are living in a state of someone that you want to be, like if you want to be a millionaire, you're thinking of yourself always to be a millionaire. That's living in the state. Now, you, as a person, as a body, you are not the state. The state is only an area that you occupy for a time, or a place you inhabit for a time. It's a position. It's technically a position. You can be in several states at the same time. So let me explain to you. You can be a father, that's the state. You can be a multimillionaire, that's the state. You can be a businessman with several businesses, that's the state. You can be a homeowner with many homes, or one home, that's the state. Meaning you could occupy all these things at one time. And then if you desire something else, then you can leave one state to occupy another state. Or you don't have to. You can occupy many states at the same time. So you are not a state. You occupy states. So that's very important to understand. If you want to be a businessman with several businesses, you occupy that state. That's how you think. You think, I'm a businessman. I'm a great businessman. I have several businesses. I have several streams of income coming to me. You continue to live in that state. You live in it. You continue to dwell in it. Your mind continues to think about that state, where you see many people coming to you for business advice, where you see giving people business advice. You see your business thriving. You see money coming in, left, right, center. You see your account balance going up and up. So that's the state. Then you can either stay in the state, or you can switch, and you can be a great loving husband, great loving wife. That's the state. You can be in a home of your choice and choosing, and you can be a very happy homeowner with your family. That's another state. So how do you do it? You occupy those states. Your mind simply switches or enters A to B. It's like in my home, I enter from my living room into my bedroom, and from my bedroom into my bathroom. These are different areas of my house, okay? But they can be different states. They can be all different states. This is how we unfortunately end up trashing our mind, because what we do, we go from crying, something that you're desiring didn't happen, you start crying about it. Then you go from crying, it's a state of sadness. You produce a state of sadness by crying. Then go from crying to coming out of crying into something else, like maybe you're depressed now. So you got into a state of depression. That's how you trash your mind. You're trashing your mind when you cry, when you are sad, and then you go into a state of depression. And from depression, other things occur. So what should you do? What should you aim for? Then crying is not the solution. Yes, I can agree that sad moments will come in your life. I can agree that there will be hard times where you feel like you want to cry, where you feel sad. Human emotions. We cannot argue against human emotions. But at the same time, you have to tell yourself that you are not the emotions. You are not that state. You are not a state of sadness. You are not a state of crybaby. You are a happy state. You are happy. You're enjoying doing businesses. You just visualize that you have several businesses and money is coming in and people are congratulating you and you're happy. You see yourself as a happy wife. You see yourself as a happy husband, a proud father, beautiful children. You see yourself in all those different states. And all what? Within the blink of an imagination, an imaginative act. That is God, by the way. God has placed Himself before us, within us, that we can use these imaginative acts to bring about our change of reality, whatever we desire. You see, you can produce negativity. If you're a state of sadness, a state of crying, and moaning, and groaning, and whining, these things produce a state of negativity. They are still states. They are not you. They are states. You're occupying those states of sadness, negativity, unhappiness. Or you can produce a state of happiness. You see yourself going, a driver is driving a car for you. You have a driver, you're a business person. You have your driver taking you around. He's taking you around, and maybe in your limousine, maybe in your Rolls Royce, maybe in a Mercedes, whatever car you desire to put there in your state. He's driving that car for you and taking you places. And, he's giving you the VIP service. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Whatever you ask him is yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. There is no to an answer. So that's the state. When you go to your bank, you check your account, there's $2 million there, maybe there's $5 million there, and the bank manager is greeting you nicely and happily because you have money in your bank. They want to see you as a customer. They want you to invest in some business with them. They're offering you different things. They might offer you a exclusive credit card. Maybe they offer you an exclusive loan because they think maybe you could take a loan from the bank and use it. Obviously, you don't need the loan. You're going to have $2 million or $1 million in the account. You don't need a loan. But, you definitely might think about a business. You might think, well, I don't need to put all my money into a business. I can take $200,000 and get the rest as a loan and invest into a business. Take other people's money and invest it. And add some of my own in there. Add 10% of mine, 20%, and the 80% I get from the bank. Yeah, you can do that. Maybe you go and buy a chain of coffee stores. Maybe, you go and get maybe a chain of grocery stores. Who knows? There's so many businesses out there. Maybe you just go and invest in real estate. And maybe you go and you start, building homes, apartment blocks. And you're renting apartment blocks. And you're selling them as well. That's the business. You're employing people. You see yourself in that state. If you see yourself in that state, then that's how you do the imaginative act. In that imaginative act, you see yourself, you're a owner of all those homes that are being built. And you are selling them and you're collecting rent on many homes. Multiple streams of income are coming. Maybe income is coming from the stock market. Maybe you invested $1 million in the stock market and you're receiving dividend payments. At the same time, maybe you're receiving money from other businesses. Multiple streams of income. I am receiving multiple streams of income. I'm always receiving, or it's normal for me to be always receiving multiple streams of income. It's normal for me to be always receiving multiple streams of income. Why am I receiving multiple streams of regular income? Why is it normal for me to receive multiple streams of regular income? These are all valid statements that you can employ as just affirmations. But at the same time, you're going to do your imaginative act every day, where you see yourself as a business person who's very successful, who's receiving money from different areas, different directions. And you're grateful, and you're thankful, and you're thanking God for everything that you have. You're very thankful, you're thanking God, and you're making it. Now you're living the American dream. This is the American dream. American dream is not about whining and grinding. American dream is about being successful. You made it. You are a successful person. And you need to tell yourself that. I'm a very successful person. I'm naturally a very successful person. I'm always successful. These are great statements to have. And this is what God has been showing us all along. Move away from institutionalized religions. There's nothing there. These people are just there to collect and go home. They're not there for you. They try to give you a cushy feeling in the churches. There's nothing there for you. Empty walls. Maybe a little bit of, social activity. You're happy to meet some people, sure. Humans are. As humans we do. We go from one family to another family, we're happy to meet the family. But it doesn't mean we dwell there forever. So church buildings, churches, other places of worship, it's the same deal. Searching for God outside of yourself. It's the same deal. Thou shalt not have another power. Thou shalt not bow down to another power. Thou shalt not bow down to another God. It's the same deal. It's time that we learn. It's time that we realize that we have the capacity, the capability within us. And we can receive within us. And we should. And God lives within us. Just like God said to Abraham, go to yourself. Not go away from yourself, go to yourself. It's within the self. We will also make our own rules in the sense that people who take a long time to manifest, usually, this is what I have seen and observed in the last 3 years. I've observed that if you have a belief system that says you get things difficult, or it's difficult for you to get things, or it's not easy for you, then you will take longer to manifest. So the very first principle of belief is that you got to believe that you can get your things quickly. Number one. And number two, that it is easy. Number three, that you're a fast manifester. The law works for you very quickly. These are the things that you need to believe. And maybe you will write down, and these rules will help you, because now you're creating your own rules regarding manifestation. We're not worried about 22 days for a chicken to hatch. We're not waiting 9 months for a baby to be born. We are basically changing the rules for ourselves. We are telling ourselves that no, for me, my, this proverbial baby, the manifesting desire, it'll manifest in the next 2 to 4 weeks, in the next 2 months, in the next 3 months. We are making our own rules. When we make these rules and we continually, write it on a little piece of card and a notepad, that these are your rules. You manifest very quickly. You manifest fast. You're a great manifester. It's easy. Things come to you easily. And also, these are the 4 or 5 rules that you'll make for yourself that will help you to manifest quickly. You can also say things like, if you have negativities that are appearing in your life, you can also say that there are no negativities in my life. I don't manifest negativities. I don't ever manifest negativities. I'm not going to manifest negativities. I don't. I only manifest positivities. I'm always a positive person, and I only manifest positivities. Stick to these rules and you'll do well. Even your biggest manifestation, like those where you want $100 million, even those will start to appear quicker in your life. You wouldn't have to wait 2 years for them. You will be manifesting them this year in December, for argument's sake. 2 months. It'll be like not 2 years, it'll be 2 months. But this, you got to radically change yourself. Radically. To give you an example, theoretically, to give an example, this is a true example, by the way. That girl I spoke to you about, who received $2 million, that happened within 3 weeks of me meeting her and telling her that, she will do well, she will be blessed, and she will receive great blessings. And 3 weeks later, boom, she gets a big inheritance. So it's it all comes down to your belief system. And then again, you could be like, I don't believe it. Yes, you can. You can say that, but you'll still manifest. Because key is you manifest fast. You manifest easy. These are keys. So to give you some examples to help you so that you may manifest the right things for yourself, here is something that you can write for yourself. Excuse me. I manifest very quickly and easily. Only your positive thoughts manifest. I am excellent at manifesting. Affirming words like affirmations works very quickly for me. Visualizing works extremely fast for me. The law was created for me. I am the law. I am the Torah. Okay? Now, I had somebody who wrote into me, and basically they were saying that they were struggling with certain things in their life. And usually you find that some men, they may struggle with this. Maybe even women, I don't know. But men for sure, is they struggle with pornographic movies. Now, the easiest thing to do, if you're a married man or you have a girlfriend, such, in this particular instance, my suggestion is this, that use the very same law that helps you manifest. Use the very same law to help you in this department. For instance, you can say things like that it's easy for me not to be addicted to anything. Or I am never addicted to anything. I am never addicted to anything. When you say things like that, you can remove the addiction of medication, you can remove the addiction of porn, you can remove the addiction of other things that are affecting alcohol, for instance, drugs, anything. But you have to change your internal belief system. When you change your internal belief system, the outer will come. You just have to set these rules for yourself. And you can modify the rules here and there according to your desire. And you will manifest those things. Now, this is a suggestion. Now, you maybe can come up with better rules for yourself. And if you can come up with better rules, you don't have to take my example. You can decide your own example. So I'm giving you some examples in which you can change your rules, but you can also come up with your own example. And you can say things like, I never get addicted to alcohol. I never get addicted to porn. I never get addicted to drug abuse. See, these are great rules to have. And believe me, when I tell you this for definite, that I live by these rules. I do. I always have, and I always will. Because I can have, as an example, I'll tell you, and I did have in England, when I was in England, I must have had at least 10 bottles of wine, whiskey, brandy, other things, in my side of my drawer. But guess what? I never touched them. They were just sitting there, for like, my goodness. They were sitting there for maybe 2 years. I got some as a gift from the workplace, from the office. I bought some, I put them just on the side. And I used to use brandy. You might laugh at this. I used to use brandy when I got a cold. I would take some as a medication to, warm myself up. Or I never actually got an ear pain ever. But let's say if I ever did, I may put a drop in my ear, which I learned years ago from my mother. She used to say that if you ever have an earache, put a drop of brandy in your ear and it will remove it. And that's true. I think only happened to me once. Only one time I ever had an earache and I put brandy in there. It was perfectly fine. No antibiotics, just brandy. And of course you can take painkillers for the pain. But I'm giving you something that I've lived by. I've lived by these rules and you too can live by these rules. So make them happen for yourself. And they will be exactly as you desire. Change the inner world, outer will come. Same for money, same for house, same for cars, same for everything else. So, start manifesting the great things for yourself. God created the law for you, for your purpose, for it to work for you, for your benefit, for your blessings. The law is not a curse, the law is a blessing. And those people who don't know, they live in their ignorance. They think, oh, law, rules, regulations. No, the law is for your blessing. And the law is a blessing. But you got to turn it into a blessing. You got to believe in that. And if you continue to believe like, those people out there, that the law is a curse for them because they misread the Bible and they misapply it, then of course that's where they remain. Same thing I will say about under observation, and this is an observation I made, that whatever a person believes, it happens for them. For instance, somebody over here goes to Saudi Arabia, he brings this water from the well called Zamzam, and they believe that it has healing properties. Now that's their belief system. Because they believe it, it may have the water may have zero properties for health, but because a person's belief system says so, then yes, it is for them. It is true for them that water has healing properties. Another person may say, well, no, just like regular water, it don't have no healing properties for me, and it doesn't. Look, I went to the mountains, over here in Pakistan. I went to the mountainous regions where there was water flowing from the mountain tops, coming all the way down to the road. And I was filling my bottles and drinking it, just trying to understand, how good that water is, or does it, benefit my body. And the water the consistency of the water was like, maybe if you ever dug a well, it was almost like the consistency of a well, slightly in taste. It was, sometimes, you may have a pungent taste, sometimes it's just normal, a bit like drinking sulfur water, but sulfur has a very strong taste. I've had sulfur water in Ohio, and I kind of like sulfur water. Even though it has a pungent taste, I like it. It was good for me. And this water that I drank from the mountains, well, it gave me nothing. It totally gave me nothing. So, even though it was spring water, I got nothing out of it because simply my belief system said, forget it, there's nothing special about this water. And there was nothing special about that water for me. In fact, that water was giving, it didn't exactly give me diarrhea, but my wife got diarrhea from it. And I was like, she told me that, I got diarrhea from this water. I said, yeah, because, your body's not used to this water, and you're likely, your stomach's upset with it. So yeah, it's all about your belief system. If you believe that the 55.5, I wrote about the 55.5 in my book, the 333, whatever number you want to apply, 999, 369, whatever you want to call it, 369 Tesla. All of these methods under trial and test did not work. But there is a big but, that if you believe they work for you, then they will work for you. Quantum jumping, like quantum jumping, you pour water glass from one to the other. It may not work for some people. Quantum jumping is where you you take a glass and, you say to yourself, well, I haven't had my manifestation yet. Take another glass, pour some water in it and say, I received my manifestation. You pour it into the other glass and say, I received all my manifestation, desires, whatever it is that you're asking at the time, and you drink it. See, for some people that works. For others, it doesn't work. Why? Because of the belief system.
So again, we have to look at the belief system of people that can make something work or does not make it work. However, I personally do not think that everything out there works for you. There's people running with the law of attraction, whilst the law of attraction is nothing but the law of assumption. And you find that the parts that match, they come true, and the parts that don't match, they never come true. Because the law of attraction people believe you have to live as if you don't technically live in the end. Now, they tell you, oh, live as if and then just let go. Detach from it. Well, unless you follow through with a visualization pattern, unless you do your affirmations daily, you will never get your so-called live as if. That is why many people fail at the law of attraction, because there is no input. They just believe that you make an intention and say it and then let go. That is not going to bring it into your reality. It's highly unlikely, and many people who've tried this have never got their manifestation. So they give up on it because that's all it is. It's just in the air. But the law of manifesting, or the law of assumption that comes out of the Bible, it's a law that always works and is always working, even if you do not believe it. And if you say, I don't believe it, it's still working, because that is the law. And if you put it to effect, and if you set it every day, then it's 100%. Whatever you are saying will become your reality. That is where the states come in. You live in a state. If you live in a millionaire state, which is an area that you inhabit for a time, for a period, and if you're living in a millionaire state, and let's say you go to a gas station, you feel like, I'm going to buy a lotto ticket for $2, and you say to yourself, but I don't have the money. Well, that means that you're not living in your millionaire state. You are trying to think like a millionaire, but you're living in a poverty state of lack. So therefore, you want to be very careful of your thoughts not conflicting with your millionaire state. Now, if your millionaire state said that you feel like eating a pizza, and the pizza is going to cost you, $15, then you go and get your pizza because you're a millionaire. Would you worry about a pizza if you were a millionaire? Would you worry about buying it? But if you said to yourself, but I don't have the $15, there goes your millionaire state. You already kicked it. So be very wary of these things, that these do affect your emotions, because you have to be emotionally a millionaire as well. Your emotions count. This is why you have heard of stories where people have said, emotionally charged. They have made an emotionally charged statement. Like somebody said that I'd give an arm for something, or someone's healing. And they did lose their arm and somebody else got healed that they were talking about. Or you heard of people that have made a very negative statement in emotionally charged state. Because remember, your emotions count. And their emotionally charged negative statement has come to pass. Whatever fear they live with, if that fear continues to repeat in their mind like an affirmation, that fear comes to pass because it's emotionally charged. This is why you want to emotionally charge your millionaire state, your apartment state, your car state. If you want to be living in an apartment, if you want to have an apartment, a new apartment, you're living in one. You're emotionally charged and telling yourself you're living in an apartment. And if you don't know how to do that, you simply see a friend who congratulates you for your apartment in a conversation, in maybe a phone conversation, in imaginary phone conversation. They continue to congratulate you and continue to receive your congratulations. That puts you in an emotionally charged state of receiving your apartment. But you got to do it, practice, repeat daily. Now, detachment doesn't mean that you stop thinking about your state or your desire. Detachment simply means that you do not focus on lack. If you're desiring a sum of money to come to you, $500,000, $1 million, whatever sum you're desiring, and if you continue to tell yourself, it's not here, it's not here, it's not here, then that means that you're living in a state of lack. that is where you do not want to be. But if you tell yourself, I have the $1 million, it is here, it is in my bank. You keep telling yourself that, I have it, it's in my bank. I have the $1 million, it's in my bank. I have it, it's in my bank. And if you continue to tell yourself, even though it is not fact at the time you're telling yourself, that statement will become fact for you. This is why it's important to live in that state. And if you do, you will reap the benefit of it. It all depends on how emotionally charged you are. If you're emotionally charged and you make a positive statement, your emotions will carry and they will make that thing happen faster. But if you continue to rampaging is when you keep telling yourself, yes, I have the money, it's coming any moment now, or it's here, the money is here, it's in my bank. And you continue to tell yourself that money is here, it's in my bank. Then there is nothing that's going to stop you from receiving that money in the bank. Because you are emotionally charged, you believe in it. So I suggest, highly suggest that you make a set of statements, maybe on a card that you carry with you. You know, they don't have to be 15 statements, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 statements at most. Repeat them every day. Whenever you get a moment free, whenever you have 5 minutes free, you repeat them. I heard of a man, and this man did the following. He did not have any money, and he said to himself, I have received $10,000 or more. He wrote it down. Just that one statement. He wrote it down, I have received $10,000 or more. And he kept saying it in a telephone call. He picked up his phone, his real phone, he put it to his ear, and he started talking to a friend. This was a pretend friend, not a real friend. It doesn't have to be a real person, it could be a pretend friend. He's speaking to his pretend friend, and he's saying, hey, you're not going to believe this. I just received $10,000 in my account. Hey, you're not going to believe this. I just received $10,000 in my account. He kept saying this for 1 hour. 1 hour. And you get tired by 5 minutes of statements. This man was so sincere to his faith, he said it for 1 hour every day. For 1 week. After 1 week, this man received $28,000. Because in his mind he kept saying 10,000 or more, 10,000 or more. Kept speaking to this artificial person that wasn't even there. But he kept telling himself, it's there. It's there. I've got it. And it's incredible. It's incredible. It's amazing. He kept saying those statements. And he got $28,000. This is not a present day statement. This is not a present day statement. This statement goes back, I don't know, in the 1930s maybe. I'm talking about a 1930 statement. In 1930, $28,000 were like today's, I don't know, maybe $1 million. Today's $1 million may equivalent to 28,000 in 1928. So think about it. You know, even if you do this with a telephone conversation, you pick up your mobile phone and you just say, I received, hey Jack, I'm so happy. You're not going to believe this. I received $1 million. And you say it over and over and over again. And you make a habit of this. And 1 hour is a long time. Do you have the stamina and the perseverance to do it for an hour? You only can answer that. And all you take is 1 week. And after 1 week, the man stopped doing it and he received his money. I mean, think about it. Would you want to receive $1 million in a week? There you go. You have the answer. You are the one who can answer that. And you are the one who will either receive it or not. But I'll give you a method that can get you $1 million in a week. But do you have the fortitude? That's entirely up to you. So with that, I'll give over to Rabbi Kefa. And thank you for listening. Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, Rabbi, Uncle V, if I can be heard, can I get a 1? Want to do a quick mic check over here. Make sure I'm heard. Start with that instruction. Uncle V, let's fire my recording on this end over here. We do record these lectures, by the way. You can find these lectures on YouTube if you'd like to listen in later. EI, Shabbat Shalom to you. It's good to see you in the room once again. So Shabbat Shalom to all of the family. Chadasha for great instruction going forward as we continue to press on with our desires and want meant for ourselves. And we continue to understand where God really is. A lot of folks really don't have that understanding. We must be able to understand where God really is. That's the foundation of all things. Remember when Yeshua ben Joseph was doing the parable about putting your house or planting seed in different locations, and it's very, very important that we plant our seed on that fertile ground or in that proper location. And that proper location is what a lot of folks are having trouble with today. Majority of people, as a student of human nature, you can begin to tell because why? They're searching in rocky areas to plant their seed, and they're searching in all these areas that a seed cannot function outside of themselves. And by that I mean, they're searching outside of themselves to find whatever they desire for themselves, or that God presence or the God likeness that they desire. And this is where they stumble and fumble. When you begin to plant on the fertile ground, which is within inside you, then you will see the fruits of your labor. The fruits of your labor will be plenteous, and the fruits of your labor will be multiplied. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the multiplier effect. How many of you will affirm this? You are a multiplier. I am a multiplier. How many will affirm that? I am a multiplier. Now the multiplier, there's a difference between the multiplier, because the multiplier, I break it up into two sections. You have the multiplier effect, and then you, with an A, and then you have the multiplier effect. You have the multiplier effect, and then you have the multiplier effect. Understand that you are a multiplier. Whether you want to affirm it or not, you're multiplying something right now in your life. Multiplying is a part of the universal principles. Everything multiplies. Everything does. Whether you believe it or not, it just is. And you see multiplying in everything. How many of you have pets? If you have a pet and your pet has pets and your pet beget pets, product of being a twin or a triplet or a quintuplet, anybody in this room? I know there may be some listening on YouTube or maybe some listening on Facebook as well. Say, yeah, Rabbi, I have a twin. So that happens within the birth of women as well. And you can see the multiplying effect, even if you're only, you have a single birth. That, Adia says, I have twins. Baruch Hashem. So Adia is a watcher and a witness to this very point that I'm making. That, the universe is all about multiplying. It really is. Now, now there's a scale. You can multiply negative or you can multiply positive, but there is multiplication going on every day. When you're waking and when you're asleep. When you're awake and when you're asleep, there's multiplying going on. Do you know the cells in your body multiply and they replicate to make more cells as the cells die off? Many people want to focus, I hear this all the time. Oh, the minute you're born, you start to die. No, the minute you're born, you start to multiply. I'm looking. Listen, I gave birth to a son. My wife did. We begat a son 2 years ago, approximately. 2 years and a few months ago. We gave birth to a son. Baruch Hashem, I give thanks to him. So grateful. But that son has multiplied. Now, John is no longer, taken from his mama's milk. I mean, he's walking and talking and understanding languages, and he's multiplying. He's grown. He's grown. So again, even with one birth in a human being, you see growth and multiplying occur. Let's look at I said, this is very interesting to see this. chapter 20. And no, but they run heavy on both sides of my family. And so you do see, twins and things like that. You do see multiple. You have one. You have multiplied, right? Because if you went from a 0 child to 1 child, guess what? Haven't you multiplied? Yeah, you multiplied by 1. So even that is a multiplier as well. Know what it has set up inside of it, and if you're not careful, you'll fall in for these little traps. It has division set up inside of it. Do you not see divisions? They make you choose what side you're going to be on. Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? Are you this? Are you Republican? Are you Democrat? Do you believe in abortions? Do you believe that same sex, same gender relationships? How many of you understand? They want to put you in a group and they want to classify you. Now, even law enforcement that's supposed to protect and serve our communities, even that has slipped in that aspect as well, because what do? They'll profile you. They'll put you in their little computer systems in there, and all of their allegories and all this, and they want to put you and they want to profile you because, okay, he has dreadlocks, maybe he does marijuana. Oh, they're black, they're more susceptible to committing some kind of crime, and so they want to. And it's actually called profiling. And there were many cases that have been won here in America based upon the law enforcement system profiling individuals just basically by looking at them and saying, "Okay, you fit into this group," but they have nothing to do with that group because they're individual. How many of you have been watchers and witnesses to being profiled? Anybody? Either by a job, maybe you went to get a job and they profiled you on the job. It maybe even law enforcement, profiled you where you were pulled over and, they say, well, we thought you were this individual and you were, our mistake, our bad. So profile, it does occur. It does occur. So they want to put you in a group. Be mindful of that in these great shepherd nations. Don't let them group you. You see it in the application. You go to fill out an application. What are you? What is your ethnicity? You either this, and they give you these boxes, but they don't give you a other box to select from. They say, okay, you have to choose either you African American, either you Asian, either you Hispanic, and that's it. What are you? There's no other choices. You see, so again, they want to put you in groups. Be mindful of that. Don't fall for the. We're all about multiply. We're not about division. And for you YouTube surfers that love to surf on YouTube, and you seeking and searching on YouTube for a teacher, and you're tasting of all these different bitter waters. And a lot of these, for those of you who have experience in this area, you'll see how they'll set up divisions. Where they say, well, okay, if you don't do things this way, you're not a part of our group. If you don't say things this way, you're not a part of our group. If you don't agree with this, then you can't be a part of us. You see, again, I'm a multiplier. I'm not a divider. I don't divide. I multiply. I'm a multiplier. So those of you who affirm multiplication and multiplying, then you must understand and see these things for what they are and run away from. Don't have anything to do with this type of divisions that they want to put up, or they want to put you in a box. You can't put me in a box. I fly out of your box. You can't keep me in a box. I am what I am, and that's it. Not what you're going to tell me I am. Nobody's not going to tell me I am something. So again, and I really want to read this verse out of the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hebrew Great Scrolls, and I want you to understand this. You see the beauty and just the beauty of this Bible. That's the best Bible in the world, by the way. And with Christmas coming up and Thanksgiving, and you're going to be around your families, and you want to give them a great gift, give them this Abrahamic-Faith Bible. It's going to really help them in their understanding. Well, those Bible learners out there, those that study the Bible, students of the Bible, it'll really help them understand, what's really going on in reality. Genesis 24, chapter 24, verse 1. Now listen to the beauty of this. I want you to listen to every word because it's so beautiful. Now Abraham was old, well advanced in age, and Yahweh had increased Abraham in all things. Isn't that beautiful? How many of you agree with it? Rabbi, that's just beautiful. What a great testament. What a great memorial for a man. For the Torah to say this about a man. Baruch Hashem. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I want you to take and remember what I just read. Now, I'm going to go read to you from the King James, King Jimmy. I'm going to read from you from the King Jimmy. And I'm also read to you from the JPS, Jewish Bible. Now, I want you to see the difference. Now, listen to this. Now, Abraham, this is from the King James. Now, Abraham was old, well stricken in age, and the Lord blessed Abraham in all things. My goodness. And even the JPS said the same thing. And Abraham was old, well stricken in age. I mean, my goodness. Who's well stricken in age in this room? I'm not. Well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. Do you see the difference between the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hidden Hebrew Scrolls, and what you get with the other tastes that are out there? I mean, it's just night and day. You get so much more clarity in it. The Bible becomes so much more, our history becomes so much more richer the way how Kohen has transliterated this Bible. My goodness, it's beautiful. But again, what is the thought process you get, Oliver, today? And I hear it all the time. Oh, Rabbi, I'm too old. Because you have that thought process of being well stricken in age. Oh, I'm so old. But you're not looking at the positive of being, and I'm going to say it just like our Kohen said it in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, of being well advanced in age. What comes with being well advanced with age? Experience. I no longer call people old. I tell them, look, you're well advanced in age. You're a young whippersnapper. You got so much wisdom with you, so much experience to impart and to give out. You live so much life. Teachers, tell us something. Now tell us what you've learned in all of those years of being well advanced in age. Baruch Hashem. But what do we get with the phone calls coming in? I've never heard nobody phone in to us and say, well, Rabbi, I'm well advanced in age. No, they said, Rabbi, I'm old. Why did the Most High wait for me to be so old before I come into the truth of the knowledge of the truth of who I am? That's where the focus is, being old. Oh, I'm old. You well advanced in age, Mishpahah, and Yahweh has increased you. You see, that word increase means a lot to me when I look at multiplying. You see, but people still walk around with this blessed thing, and that's part of the conditioning. Blessed goes deeper than what they think it is. But they walk around saying, oh, I'm blessed, 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 and not really understanding and getting to the meat and potatoes of what blessing really is, Mishpah, and how to live in the state of blessing. They say blessing, but like I quit talking in this lecture was brilliant, it's just to live in the state. Be in the state of blessing. And you can be in that state continuously. Why? Because that's a part of our covenant, Baruch Hashem. That's a part of the contract, is to multiply. That's a part of the covenant, is to be a multiplier. So if you deny multiplying, if you deny exceedingly, multiplying exceedingly, and being increased, like we're told, I'll tell you, that's so much better. And Yahweh increased Abraham in all things. How many of you want to be increased in all things, Baruch Hashem? That's a multiplier. That's the definition of a multiplier. I want to be increased in all things. In every area, increased. I want to be increased in all things. You see, when you say increased, man, boy, that didn't have something to it. It just has it puts some oomph in it. Man, increase. Everybody understands increase. But blessing, that's kind of relative. Depending on what camp you're in. You see, some people are blessed being under the curses in some of these camps on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, we so blessed, we so favored to be put under the curses. We're so blessed under the curses because we are the people and we blessed with curses. Are you kidding me? I'm not. I'm not going to affirm that. No way. And Yahweh increased Abraham. I'm increased in all things. I'm Abraham. Baruch Hashem, descendant. I'm increased in all things, every aspect and every area of my life. I'm not wanting because I'm always multiplying. I'm a multiplier, and I am multiplying. I'm increased, and I'm increasing, Baruch Hashem. And I'm going to continue to increase, Baruch Hashem. Brother David they say we can't do nothing. We're under a curse, and that's where they're going to stay. Are you going to stay with the do-nothings? Are you going to read this Torah, and it's from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, say, I don't care if I'm well in age, well advanced in age, or just getting started in age. Yahweh has increased me in all things. I'm not going to stay with the do-nothings because I'm a doer. I'm not a do-nothing of the word. I'm a doer of the word. But yet, people, and they sit there and tell you, you sit there and you just listen for a minute. You'll be like, how the hell did I stay under this teaching for so long? Why would I stay? Someone when they're telling me I'm not going to be nothing and I'm not going to be able to do anything, and we got to wait for the return of the Messiah before things can really kick off, or we got to wait on the rapture before I can really begin to get blessed because I'm cursed here on this earth. Because I'm a brown, I'm a black man, I'm already under the curse just by the color of my skin. I'm already at default. Oh, no, that's so totally not true. You need to reset. You need to reset. But a lot of people don't understand and don't know that they don't have to be comfortable there, that they can move on. If you're uncomfortable, then move on. But a lot of folks are comfortable being uncomfortable, so they stay uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And they just stay there. Either they in fear of getting comfortable somewhere else and moving and being a sojourner that they are, or maybe that they don't want to be. Some people don't like to travel. When they find somewhere where they're just a little bit comfortable, they'll stay put. Even though they may not agree with everything that's going on, they'll just stay there. You see? They'll stay there. Oh, I'm old. Oh, I'm so old. No, you well advanced in age. You have a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience under your belt. See life that way. Don't be conditioned to King Jimmy and the JPS's understanding. Oh, I'm stricken with age. Being stricken with age is not a curse. You know, to me, that's a negative, right? When they read it, they're well stricken in age. What's wrong with age? Age ain't nothing but a number. That's what I used to tell the girls all the time back in the day. Age ain't nothing but a number, baby. Age is just a number. How old do you think you are? How old do you believe you are? And that's what you're going to be. Oh, Rabbi, I'm just old. And what does that mean? You giving up on life? You have no wisdom? You what? You can't do anything because of a number? Don't let the numbers fool you. Because you're a multiplier. The covenants are all about multiplying. Multipliers. This earth is established on multiplying. You know, there's cycles. And I'm telling you, these vegetables in the garden right here, they multiplied right now. All we did was plant one seed, Hakohim. We planted one seed. And now we get spinach for days, Baruch Hashem. We're not just getting one little puny leafy spinach. Okay, well, we blessed honey because, you know, Yahweh has taken this one seed and he's made another seed. No, we're multipliers. I mean, we got Jack and the Beanstalk in the garden back there, Baruch Hashem. Going up to the heavens. My goodness. Grocery stores coming to my garden. I'm not going to the grocery store, Baruch Hashem. They come to my garden for vegetables. I mean, that's beautiful. When you don't have to go to the grocery store, you can go and pick your fruits and your vegetables from your own garden, from your backyard. That's beautiful. That's multiplying, baby. That's that multiplier factor. I'm old, Rabbi. I'm old. I'm just old. But no, you're wise. You have great experiences to tell us. You have great learning experiences we can learn from. Tell us about it. Let us know about it. Tell us about those stumbling blocks, those pitfalls. No, I'm just old and I just want to focus on just the old part. So what does old mean? Is that an excuse that you cannot be a doer of the word? What does that mean? You old, you can't no longer hear the word because your hearing is going bad? Well, what does that mean? What does old mean? Old is just one of those cop-outs. It's one of those, it's one of those cards that they use to get them, to keep them in jail. Instead of that get out of jail card, they pull the old card so that they can stay in jail. And they don't have to, move on. And they don't have to better themselves. And they don't have to multiply because they're old. And one thing the Torah has taught us and the experience in the life of Abraham is that old is irrelevant. Old is irrelevant. Abraham, how many of you understand? We get the story of Abraham and Sarah begatting a son in their not their well-stricken years, but in their what? In their well-advanced age, having a son in Isaac, Baruch Hashem. But then even after that, Abraham goes on to what? Even begat more children from other wives as well, right? He didn't stop there. So what is Abraham teaching us? Age is nothing but a number. Did Abraham stop having sons after Isaac was born? I submit to you not. He didn't. And the Torah tells us that he did. He went on and married and had more children and begat more sons and daughters, Baruch Hashem. What does that tell us? Don't focus on the age factor. Focus on being well advanced in age, right? But also focus on that Yahweh has increased you. You increase, that multiplier effect comes into play. That multiplier effect comes into play. Now, remember we talked about affect and effect. I want to concentrate on that for a minute. And for that, we looked at yourdictionary.com for these definitions. I looked at the definition of affect with an A, affect. How many of you in this life want to be effective? You want to be effective. Now let's read the definition that they have on there so you understand what I'm talking about. Affect, according to our yourdictionary.com says, affect means to produce a change in something. To have an influence on or effect a change in something. Affect is a disposition. Affect is a feeling. Affect is a tendency. Affect is what? Is to act on the emotions of. How many of you understand what affect means now? You got to stay with me on this now. You see, because I have a multiplier affect. Because why? I've been given the tools by Hakoim, connected with self, understanding that the Most High is within me to produce a change in something. I can do that just by affirming. What do I want to affirm? What do I want? To have an influence on. I can influence things right here in the cozy confines of my base, right here in my house. I can influence things. How many of you can do that as well? Then that means that you have an affect. You're effective. You should be effective. You've been given the tools to be effective. When I was in Hagee's church here in San Antonio, I had no ability to be effective. I stayed on the effect side of things. We'll get get to that one in a minute. But some synonyms for affect is this. Because I'm a multiplier affect and I'm a multiplier effect as well. Some synonyms for affect are impact on. How many of you have an impact on people? To change. Affect means to change. Synonym means to change. Baruch Hashem. Affect, another synonym for affect is to influence. Whoa. How many of you have influence? You business people. Influence. You business-minded people. Influence. See, influence to me means like I can see just people that's just attracted to me. They coming to me for advice on whatever. Influence. If you have influence, people are going to be attracted to you. They're not going to run away from you in the crowd. They're going to come to you. You can just be sitting down and somebody just going to come up to you and just want to stroke up a conversation with them. Hey, how you doing? So great. Another day in paradise, baby. What do you want out of this life? Life is so beautiful. Life is wonderful. And they're looking at you like, what the hell? Man, I'm busted and disgusted. I'm broke. I can't make $1 out of 15 cents. And you talking about life is beautiful and you know, another day in paradise? This is hell to me. Well, guess what? That's just what it's going to be. You in hell right now then. Because that's your effect. You all have the ability to affect. You all are doing it, whether you want to believe it or not. You're producing. You're producing a change. You're influencing. Another synonym for affect is to modify, to get, to profess. What are you professing? Well, I'm professing that I'm busted and disgusted and I'm broke. I can't make $1 out of 15 cents. Well, guess what? You don't profess. That's your effect. That's the effect. And your effect is going to have an effect. We're going to get to that in a minute. Multipliers in the room. All you multipliers. YourDictionary.com says, says this, that gives a definition of a multiplier. I looked up multiplier and it gives this definition. A person or a thing that multiplies or increases. Whoa! Didn't we just not read that in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible that all these other Bibles didn't have in there? And Yahweh increased Abraham in all things. Genesis chapter 24, verse 1. Increase. That's the definition of multiply. A person or a thing that multiplies or increases. Didn't say decrease. It said that you increase. You can increase in what? Age. That's a multiplier. There's nothing wrong with increasing in age. We all do it, right? How many of you don't increase in age? Please tell me. I tell you, multiplying is a part of the universal laws. It's built in. Some people fight it. Oh, I don't want to increase in age. You can't fight it, can you? I know a lot of folks that are trying to fight multiplying in age, and there's nothing wrong with it. But they've been taught, that it's bad to multiply in age. That's a negative. That's not a negative. That's not a negative. That shouldn't stop you from having an effect. Actually, that should help you have an effect, right? It's because you got so much more experience and so much more wisdom under your belt. As a what? As a person who is well advanced in age. I want all of you to write that down and use that. Help other people around you in these Gentile nations understand that they're not old, they're well advanced in age. And with that comes great benefit. Please help people. Write that down. That's right out of our holy books. That's right out of our holy book. The Abrahamic-Faith Bible, transliteration version, the best version out there on this planet and on other planets as well, even on Mars. Whenever we get there, it's still going to be the #1 best Bible ever. Book of Shem. Some of your children may be taking that trip to Mars. I know if Nakshan want to go, he's bringing the Abrahamic-Faith Bible with him. Believe me, he is the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it is. Well advanced in age, baby. That's what it's all about. Don't call yourself old anymore. You're not over the hill. No, you're on top of the hill, baby. You're running the show. You know, with age comes so much wisdom. But they forget that verse because they so caught up on old age. And that's a negative. No, it's not. But that's what they've been conditioned to think. And that's how they think. And as we all know, as you think, so you will be. Am I correct? That's again, the laws of the universe just slapping you in the face. We all go increase. I told you, you can't fight increase. You're going to do it. Now, what side of the increasing you on, now that's going to be up to you. That you can't control. Do you want to increase in negativity or do you want to increase in positivity? Do you want to make your life increase better or do you want to make your life increase worse? That's where you have the control. But you can't stop increase. You can't stop multiplying. Because it happens. It just is. Just like you are. You just are. You are. Nobody can tell you that you're not. Yet people have tried. And a lot of us have been out here trying to find out what we are. Who we are. But once you do, can't take it from you. You just are. And you're going to always increase in age. That's a part of it. That's a part of it. And that's the beauty of it. I tell you. That's the beauty of it. The definition of a multiplier, according to yourdictionary.com, a person or thing that multiplies or increases. Multipliers and blessings are synonymous. They go hand in hand. Because you can't be blessed if you're not multiplying. Yet a lot of folks say that they're blessed, but there's no multiplier to them. Why? Because they haven't been given the keys yet. Man, I'm telling you, you can go into Catholicism right now. You can go to Christian churches on Sunday church, and they're going to sing many songs. You're going to hear the word blessed mentioned many, many times. And there may be a few persons that's in there that can say, yeah, I'm blessed. But for the most part, it's just going to be the preachers. They're going to be the ones that's blessed while everybody else is scratching their head like, man, how do I make $1 out of 15 cents? Hey, preacher, how can you help me pay my mortgage? I just lost my job. Go pray, brother, and you'll be blessed. Oh, you just need to pray a little bit harder, brother. Maybe you need to come to Wednesday Bible study. Get that in there. Go to a fellowship on Thursday. Listen, man, I didn't come here for a social moment. I came here to get my wants met, and they're not getting met. So the question is, are you going to stay where you are? Or are you going to be comfortable there? Or are you going to say, hey, man, it's time for me to pack my bags and move on to greener pastures? And all of us have been at that place to where we weren't happy and we didn't stay in that comfort zone. But we said, no, it's time to go out and I need to go where I'm going to be happy. I need to go where there's peace, love, and joy. I need to go where my needs are going to be met. We have some big churches here in San Antonio, major big churches. These churches are just big and they're beautiful. But that's all it is to it. Just a building that's beautiful. The people are not being benefited. They're not being benefited at all. They're not being increased. Yeah, they increase for the time that they socialize in that building. But then once they leave that building, my goodness, it's like they scratching their head. What do I do now? You go back to your depressed mode. And then it's like a drug. It's like they only get their fix when they're in church. I've seen it over and over and over again. I've seen it. I'm like, man, Deacon so-and-so don't act that way when he's in church. He acts a total different way when he's outside of church. Wow. So there's no carryover. But when you're in the perfect law, you don't carry over. It just carries on and on. It just multiplies. It's the multiplier effect. Now we're going to need to get into the effect side of things in a minute here. Here we go. Now, let's look at effect from yourdictionary.com. Effect is defined as the result of something or the ability to bring about a result. The effect is the result of the affect. Get it? So you're a multiplier. There's a multiplier effect and there's a multiplier affect. But we're talking about the effect side of things. So the effect is the influence or action on something. The power to produce an outcome or achieve a result. That's the effect. So your affect may be the affirmations. Those emotions that you have. Oh man, I want that new BMW, the whatever series that they got. I want it. I want it in black. I want it with the nice rims on there. That's what I want. I desire that for my family. I desire it for myself. That's what I want. That's your affect. The effect is I'm driving in that BMW, blah, blah, blah series, and it's all that black, just like I want it, with rims on it, just like I want it. It could be a car, any kind of material thing. Don't have to be a material thing. It could be a wife, anything with energy. Money is energy. That wife, that husband is energy. That baby is energy. Anything. That house is energy. Whatever you want it to be. That's the effect. The physical presentation. The manifestation of it being brought to pass. Being called forth, and you're smelling it, and you're sniffing it, and you're sleeping in it, and you're hugging it, Baruch Hashem. That's the effect side of it. There's a multiplier effect, and there's a multiplier effect side of it. Now, on the effect side of it, with an E, synonyms for effect are this, according to yourdictionary.com. Consequences. I mean, have you heard that word before? What's the question? Consequence. The conclusion. What was the conclusion? Okay, you've been saying all this and saying this and this and this and affirming this. Now, what's the conclusion? You got this. The ramification or the accomplished. What was accomplished? That's the effect. Man, I've been meditating on this wife day and night. I've been wanting this wife, and I want this wife to. I want her to do like this. I want her to do like this. I want her to be this. I want to be this. Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Now, everybody with me on the affect and the effect, the multiplier affect and the multiplier effect. You with me? Now we're going to take it to the Torah. Now remember, you can increase, and you are increased, and you are increased, and you increase. Remember that you are increased and you increase. Just because you increase, that doesn't mean it's in the past. You increase now. Just because the covenants were written long ago with Abraham, that doesn't mean that it stops there with Abraham. No. You increase now. You increase in whatever you want. You increase in whatever you want. That's how it goes down, Mishpahal. It's just that simple. So the question is, what do you want? This is why in my study of human nature, as I talk to individuals, I always ask them, like, what do you want, man? What do you want out of this life? And a lot of times, believe it or not, there's a cause for pause. They actually have to think about it. So then I take it another step further as they're thinking about it, because nobody ever asks these kind of questions like people don't ask these kind of questions. What don't you want? Oh my goodness. You ask somebody, what don't they want? They can begin to list things off quicker than quick, can't they? I would encourage you to do this. Go ask somebody what do you want? Yeah, they'll pause. There'll be a cause for pause. But when you begin to ask somebody what they don't want, this is how you're going to find out what they want. By asking them what they don't want. You got to narrow it down that way. Because folks don't get asked this all the time. So what does that mean? When you ask somebody, what do you want? And they have to pause. And they have to actually think about it. And maybe come back and get with you later. This means this is not what they think about most of the time. This means in their affect mode, they're not thinking about producing a change in their life. They're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about having an impact. Maybe other than the affect mode, they're only thinking about paying bills. Maybe they're thinking about the argument that they had with their spouse. So they don't. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people are infected in the affect mode, so they can never get on with what do I? desire for myself. I never really thought about that. But I do know what I don't want. Well, people want things. They do. A lot of folks don't know that they want things. They just don't know because they're too busy chasing other people's wants and dreams instead of their own. So you got to put the focus back on the inside. And to begin with, you got to take them to the affect side of things, so they can realize that the affect. You can have an affect on this life. You can have an affect on your life here on this earth. You can, and you are either positive or negative. I mean, I think about this a lot. As we get well advanced in age. It's like, what kind of legacy am I leaving? Well, how will I be remembered? Did any of y'all ever think about that? How will I be remembered? What effect will I have on this life that I have here on this earth now? I mean, that's a high responsibility when you begin to think about it. Because for us, as the people of the books, it all starts with our family. That's where the effect really is going to occur. And you'll be able to pass on the effect side of it to your children and your children's children. The conclusion of it was this. Nachshon went on to have a successful life, and he begat many children. And he was success, and he was happy in all that he did. And he lived a peaceful life, well advanced in age. And Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham, blessed him in all things, or increased him in all things. Baruch Hashem. Why? Because Nachshon had a father that trained him up in the way he should go. When he was old, he didn't depart. When he was well advanced in age, he remembered what his father taught him. From childhood, Baruch Hashem, from birth, Baruch Hashem. See that Ishbahah? What kind of effect are we going to have? Effect are we going to have for an effect that we're going to put on our families that will leave an effect on our families? How will you be remembered? What have you done thus far? Because you're not done doing, but what have you done thus far? You see, you need to take a self-check and a self-assessment of self, not of nobody else. Stop pointing the finger at everybody else trying to figure out how their lives are going on, because Democrats and all that blah, blah. Quit all that nonsense, man. Get out of that. Get out of the soap operas. Get out of all the tabloid drama and begin to take that energy and put that within yourself. And ask yourself the question, well, what kind of effect am I having? What kind of effect am I having in this life that am I having right now? With the life that I've been given, so graciously given by the Most High. What kind of effect am I having? Do that assessment. Or your self-assessment. And then you can begin to, with all the tools that we have at our disposal, with all these tools that we have at our disposal, we can utilize these tools to assist us in helping us get what we want. Two things came to me this week from the Mbokba. Anybody know anything about the Orthodox Jews? Now, I'm going to say this in this way. Anybody know what kind of apparel the Orthodox Jews wear? What is their apparel? What kind of clothes that they wear? Anybody know what's their apparel? Anybody ever did any study on the Orthodox Jews or confronted or had any kind of relations or do have relations with Orthodox Jews? Anybody? Anybody know you've seen movies about them or maybe you watch some documentaries about, these Jews? Anybody know? Eddie says, Eddie's teams and Shabbat Shalom. Eddie says, black and white suits, black hats, right? Beards and black. now, what I'm saying, what's common here is they're using the word black. Now, get this. This came to me. I go from the Oklahoma this week. She said, yeah, Nehemiah, always in black. She said, you know what she said? She said, look at these people. She said, these people are really telling y'all who the real Jews are. Do you get it, Akoin? Just by the way that they dress. I was like, wow, that was a revelation to me. Did you see it? She was like, these people are letting you guys know who the real Jews are just by the way they dress. I was like, ding, ding, ding. Light bulbs came on. That was from the Hokma, by the way. That was from Mother Wisdom. I was like, wow. I'm like, okay. Because I was just like having a conversation, like, we don't have to talk in it. And I say this all the time with everybody. I have to go out here and just publish it by just holding up billboards and placards and doing all this. Hey, we're the real people of the books, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. No, we just have to live it. And the way we live it will show it. And here it goes. And then Hokma said, let me give you an example. Look at the Orthodox Jews and the way they dress. They telling you who the real people of the books are. They telling you. And they, believe me, they don't deviate from their dress. I wouldn't doubt if they go to sleep with black underwear on. I wouldn't doubt that. But again, they don't deviate from the way they dress. That's who they are. You know what I mean? So again, isn't that something, Ms. Rahal? Isn't that amazing? You sit here and look, I haven't said a word or talked to an Orthodox Jew. But again, you can just look by how they dress. You see what they do, what their doings tells you. It tells you clear as day. And a lot of them do know it. They know that they converse in a way, and I have no problem with Orthodox Jews. I have no problem with all these other camps that fall up under the umbrella of the Torah. I have no problem with them. But you can learn a lot from them just by studying them and just watching them and looking at their actions. Not so much for what they say, but just look what they're doing. Look how they're dressing. You see what I mean? We should be the same way. It shouldn't be so much what we say, but live our life. That's going to do what? Have that effect. You're going to influence people. You're going to have an impact on people. Look, when I see these people walking around in that black and white, that has an impact on me. I'm like, wow, you guys are different. You know what I mean? That the way they dress, it has an impact, right? Like, wow, it's a pretty cool little club you got here going on, man. Y'all wear the same clothes every day. I mean, shoot, man, y'all. Yeah, y'all wear the same clothes every day. That's pretty cool, man. I guess y'all saving a lot of money in apparel because y'all wear the same thing every day. You know what I mean? And get this, as remember how Kohen said to be in that millionaire, billionaire, wherever you at, that mindset, and in that actually be in that moment. A lot of famous, wealthy people, they have that same kind of pattern to where they actually wear the same clothes every day. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I listened to a couple of TED Talks of some very famous billionaire, millionaire people. They'll wear the exact same clothes every day. When it comes to them going to work, they wear the exact same thing. Some of them say, it's because they want to use their decision-making processes and that energy on picking clothes and focus that on something else that's more important. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. These people, they can wear different socks every minute and still, you know what I mean? But no, they wear the same clothes every day. And this is just not a one-off. I've seen several successful people say this, that they wear the same clothes every day, same clothes. Now, of course, they buy the same, like, black shirt and khaki pants or slacks, but yeah, they have like maybe 12 or 13 of them. They're not wearing the exact same clothes that they wore yesterday. They are washing and stuff like that, but they do wear the same clothes every day. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So you want to have that effect or an effect to have to make that multiplier reality, real. You got to start thinking this way. You want to have a positive influence and not a negative influence. You want to have a positive impact and not a negative impact. Because I tell you, the majority of people around you, they don't have a positive impact. And they don't have a positive influence. You see it, this is all around you. But you must be able to see it and understand it for what it is. Is that these are just people that don't understand it. The multiplier effect for them is a negative multiplier effect. You see? Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Now, let's get to the Torah. Now we're going to take it to the Torah. And I'm not going to read it all, but we're going to kind of get through it. But, Abraham being well advanced in age, he has this empire here. He literally has he has an empire. We just read that the Torah said that Yahweh, the Elohim of Yisrael, had increased Abraham in all things, correct? So this man is sitting on like they say, Nehemiah, this man, Abraham, is sitting on some loot. Now he's sitting on a lot of money, wealth, prosperity, correct? Because he was increased in all things. Now he has to pass this on. This has to be passed on to somebody else, to another family member. Remember, you want to keep it in the family. You want to keep it in the family. Oh, here's another thing that Hope told me this week. She told me two things. It gave me some great insight on this as well. You know how we're told on the Shabbat to stay in our homes? Now, a lot of folks take that literal. But do you know, like on the Shabbat, we're told to command you stay in your homes, right? Why will we be commanded to stay in our homes? What does that mean? When I say, okay, it's Shabbat, you're commanded to stay in your home. What does that mean to you? What does that mean? Come on, students of the Torah. You all doing it. This is Shabbat. So what does that mean to you when I say, okay, when the Torah says, okay, you stay in your homes on the Shabbat? What does that mean? What does that mean to you? Rest? Okay, Brother David, stop for your response. There's no wrong response here. It's just what you understand. Inside yourselves, Eddie says, ooh, we Eddies. Eddie says, be inside yourself to stay in your homes. What does that mean to you? Now, let's focus on that home part, that faith part. When we look at a home, what consists of a home? Think about this for a minute. What consists of it on that Shabbat? What is that home made up of? I mean, you got a home, there's a physical building, blah, blah, blah. But what consists of that home? That family. To stay with your family. To be with your family. It's all about that family, right? Think about this for a minute. Shabbat is all about your family. Not so much to say to stay in your home. Because believe me, I take my son out on the Shabbat, we go play. But to be with your family, that day is for your family. For you and your family. Do you get it? Do you get it? But if you in Judaism, let me tell you, Judaism is going to have you turning light bulbs off, turning electricity off, and you lose the spirit of the Shabbat. Because you're so much on the letter of the Shabbat. How many of you with me? Do you see this one, Brother Davis? You see how you can get carried away? And you can get so caught up in the letter of the law. Oh, okay, we got to turn this light bulb to the refrigerator off. We got to make sure we cut the power electricity this time. Oh, what time is it? Then you totally forget about the spirit of Shabbat. It's to be with your family, man. Take care. I mean, that day is just to really be there with your queen, give her nourishment, give her just her needs, man, whatever, with your children and see where they at and what's going on and give them some wisdom and insight on how you're going to help them these next 6 days or late. Do you see what it's all about? It's all about the family. But Judaism has totally forgot about that. I mean, you sweating on the Shabbat on Judaism. Make sure you got all the letter of the law fulfilled. That you don't even, have time within the confines of the Shabbat to enjoy the spirit of the Torah with your family. You gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do that. Make sure this don't do, make sure that don't do. My goodness, you can't get on. Right? But when you understand that the Shabbat is all about you and your family, my goodness. Isn't that beautiful? So when you actually recognize, because listen, in these nations, I don't know how it is in the UK, Lion King, Lion Princess, but here in North America, I mean, family time, I mean, that's asinine. That's like a bad word because everybody got things to do. You got to go there. You do that. Then you don't have time for that nucleus of the family to just really just be together. At peace. I like where you put it, Brother Dave. At peace and harmony with your family. And just really enjoying your family. And you as the head of that house, really nurturing your family. Why? Because those 6 days, you're doing what? You're laboring. But on that 7th day, that's for that day of rest, that's for your family. Put labor to the side for 1 minute and focus on your family. Be with your family. How many of you get it, Miss Paul? That's a beautiful thing, isn't it? That's a beautiful thing. And I tell you, Mother Wisdom, she will give you some golden nuggets if you just be quiet and you just listen. And they'll come to you. And they'll come to you. I'm telling you, and it's beautiful. Because it really shows me how functional our Torah is and also how flexible it is. And it's not constricting. Man, you get in Judaism, it's going to constrict you like a boa. Like a boa constrictor, it's going to tighten you, constrict, and them coils going to get around you where you can't breathe and you can't function, man. And you can't get on. And you hate your wife and you beat up on your wife and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that's happening in all facets of Judaism, but it is happening in Judaism in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Where there's a lot of physical abuse going on with the wives there in Judaism, and mental abuse as well, and emotional abuse as well. That's occurring. And yet they hide under the umbrella of Musa, of Moses, of Moshe in this Torah. They're so far from our way of living that it's crazy. You know what I mean? And we're not no part of that. We won't have. It's all about our family. Baruch Hashem. It's all about the nurturing of our family. Shabbat shalom, Michael. Shabbat shalom, not Sean. Wait. Not Sean. Wake up, say Shabbat shalom, family. Ayo. Ayo. Okay. Yeah. So Shabbat shalom. And so Shabbat shalom. So that's what it's all about, Mishpah. It's all about our families, Mishpah. It totally is. Okay. Let's get to this. Let's get to this Torah reading here. What do you want to say to the family, son? Say, what the family say? Shabbat shalom. Say Shabbat shalom, not Sean. So what do you want to say? Okay, so let's get to this reading here because this is so vital and so important. I mean, a lot of times I kind of read over this and explained it away as a miracle from God, but no, it just really wasn't a miracle from God. This was a miracle from the man who wanted the miracle, and the miracle came, manifested. Baruch Hashem. So let's read this here because you know what? You know, Abraham, he's got to deal with his empire. He's got to deal with his empire. You know, he's got this legacy and he wants to pass it on. And we all know that you just don't give your empire to just anybody. Because just like our queen said in this lecture, some people get a hold of money and they don't know how to handle it. Money don't come with instructions. So if you haven't been instructed on money, money will leave you as quickly as it came to you. Why? It's because number one, you haven't been instructed on money. And number two, you don't have a relationship with money to make money multiply. And what I've noted in Hakoin's lecture and what he's going to do with that marvelous woman there, that's a millionaire now, millionaires, is going to take her and he's going to show her how to multiply that money and how to make that money increase and multiply effect and affect on that money. Do you get it? That's just what's going to happen. She's going to be given instruction on how to take that money and let that money work smart and hard. Not her. She's not going to work smart and hard. That money's going to work for her. And that's how we do it. And it's just a circle, and it's a cycle. And it's a circle and a cycle, right now, Sean? It's a circle and a cycle. And she'll just sit back, and the residual income will just be flowing, like currency does flow, like energy does flow. That's just what's going to happen. Okay, let's take a Papa. Okay, and the money's just going to flow. And that's just what it is. And we have to understand that. So let's see what Abraham is talking about here. Let's pick it up in Genesis 24:2. So Abraham said to his elder servant, who we know was his son, elder servant of his house, who ruled over all that he had. Listen, a servant don't rule over all that you have. This is why you got to get out of that King Jimmy version. And there's no way I'm going to place all of my wealth and all of my knowledge to a servant when I have sons in the house. That's crazy. You see, all that he had. Please put your hand under my thigh. Look at verse 3 of Genesis 24. And swear by Yahweh, the Elohim of Shemayim and the Elohim of earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanite among whom I dwell. But you shall go to my land and to my mishpah, to my family, and take a wife for my son Yitzhak. Now, here's another clue. The Torah drops a lot of clues about who the people of the books are, and you just look at the culture and what the actions that they do. Now, who today? Now, I don't know amongst the Russian camp. I haven't did much study on Russian history, but is it in their history for them to marry within their family? Look here in North America. Is it within our history here in North America for us to marry within our family? Anybody tell me that we actually marry within our family and that there's marriages that take place within our family? That's shunned in here in North America. I don't know about the UK, but that's totally shunned here in North America. You don't do that. But tell me where that is. Can you pinpoint where that does happen? I mean, it's still happening today. Our Queen just talked about it. And this millionaire is Bukashim. She just got a divorce from a family member, and all the family's mad at her. Yeah, I'm telling you, can definitely pinpoint just by reading the actions in our Torah. Yeah, a lot of times people overlook this stuff, and they don't look at this history, and they don't look at the actions that our forefathers, our patriarchs and matriarchs took. These actions are still taking place today. You know what I mean, John? Let's see, Papa. Keep ball. Okay, keep ball. Okay, they're still taking place today. So we see that. Look at Genesis 24:4. But you shall go to my land and to my mishpah, to my family, and take a wife from my son Yitzhak. All these Bible-believing people over here in North America will look on this and say, no, that's a bad thing to do. That's incest and blah, 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 blah. Wouldn't they? You North American thinkers, you know what I'm talking about. It's the first thing they're going to say. That's why that's the Old Testament. We don't do that anymore. Look at verse 5. And the servant said to him, perhaps the woman will not be willing to follow me to this country. Must I take your son back to the land from which he came? Look at verse 6. But Abraham said to him, beware that you not take my son back there. Look at verse 7. And Yahweh Elohim of Shemayim, who took me from my Av's house and from the land of my mishpah, my family, who swore to me, who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, to your descendants I give this land. And he will send his milikim before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. Now get this. Here comes the manifesting side that I totally missed all these years. Look, you get what you want. You get what you want. You get what you ask for. It's not a miracle. This is what this man asked for. Let's read it. Let's go to verse 8. If the woman be not willing to follow you, then you will be released from this oath. Only do not take my son back there. So Yitzhak was not allowed to go back there to the land. Look, he's about to be a billionaire. And so again, we don't want nothing happening to him. So he's under lock and key with security because he's about to assume a very important empire. Baruch Hashem. Look at verse 9. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, owner, and father, and swore to him concerning this matter. Look at verse 10. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed, for all his master's goods were in his hands, and he rose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. Now look at verse 11. And he made his camels kneel down outside the city by the wall of Ma'im at evening time, the time when the women go out to draw water. Here we go right here. Look at verse 12. This is where it all gets juicy. Look at verse 12. And he said, O Yahweh, mighty one of my Adonai, my master, my father, Abraham, please give me success this day. Show unmerited favor to my servant, to my master Abraham. Look at verse 13. Behold, I stand here by the well of Ma'im, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw Ma'im, to draw water. Look at verse 14. Now let it be that the young woman, get this right here. Here it goes right here. Here goes the effect. Here goes the effect. Now let it be that the young woman whom I say, please let down your pitcher that I may drink. And she says, drink, and I will also give your camels to drink. Let her be the one whom you have appointed to your servant Yitzhak. And by this I will know that you have shown loving kindness to your master. Boom. Now, did God do this? Or did the servant do this? Did Abraham's son do this? Let's look at this for a minute. Eliezer. Who did it? Eliezer did this. Eliezer manifested exactly and affirmed exactly what he wanted. This was his influence that he wanted. He wanted the woman to do with the water just as he said. Not as God said, but just as he said. Power. See how much power we have in our words if we believe them? And believe me, Eliezer believed it. He's like, look, if it's going to go down, this is going to be my brother's wife, then she's going to do this. You all can do the same thing. Whatever you believe, it will be. Whatever you believe, it will be, Mishpahah. And we all know the story. Let's keep going. And it happened before he had finished speaking. My goodness. Like what he talked about in his lecture. He talked about rapid manifesting. This was rapid manifesting, was it? With Eliezer. Wasn't this rapid? Because the Torah tells us right here. And it happened before he finished speaking. That behold, Rivkah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, or wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. Look at verse 16. Now, the young woman was very beautiful to behold, a virgin. No man had known her. She went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up. Look at verse 17. And the servant ran to meet her and said, please, let me drink a little of your ma'im in your pitcher. Let me drink a little of that water. And so she said, drink, my master. Then she quickly let her pitcher down to her hand and gave him drink. In verse 19. And then, and when he had finished giving him, and when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw ma'im, I will draw water for your camels also, until they have finished drinking. Baruch Hashem. I'm going to stop right there. Isn't that beautiful? Do you want that's manifesting 101? This is Eliezer's giving us a great example. Torah's giving us a great example of the actions of Eliezer that took place for him to manifest exactly what he wanted for his brother. He wanted this woman to be this. That way he'll know that he knows. You guys can use the same technique. You guys can use the same tools and do the exact same thing. We can use this. It's the Torah. Most folks, I spent many years reading it just as a story, not understanding till I got the tools in my quiver from my Kohen exactly what is really going on here. This is manifesting 101. Rapid manifesting. Rapid. Say it, be it, was it. Effect, like that. Like that. Baruch Hashem. Do you all see that? Isn't that beautiful? Establishing a relationship. This relationship was a relationship with what? With a woman. It can happen with a man, a relationship with money, it can relationship with a house, relationship with a car, relationship with a job, doesn't matter. It's all a relationship. And as you can tell, that's what our Torah is all about. It's all about a relationship. But a lot of folks don't understand that because they're not well advanced in age when it comes to their time with this Torah, and particularly the teacher that they have in the gate. They don't have the Kohen in the gate, then they're going to struggle, stumble, and fumble. And those of you who only been here a little bit of time, you understand that. And you understand the wealth of understanding that you have now just being at the foot of the Kohen for just maybe a little bit of time. That you spent all these other periods of your life running out here after these bitter waters and not finding anything. And not getting you getting the effect, but the effect is wanting and lacking. Because you're coming up with effect is, remember, conclusions. You're coming up with poor conclusions. You're not coming up with anything for yourself that you desire. And this is where it all starts, your desire, what you want out of this life. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. So that's where we are. That's where we are, Mishpachah. And I'm going to wrap it up for the Shabbat and say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you, Mishpachah. But understand this, that you're multipliers. The multiplier effect, the multiplier effect is real. It's real, Israel. So we must take it and begin to utilize the tools that we have. Don't give up. Don't give in. What are you saying there? Sheila said, God grants all prayers instantly for his people. Baruch Hashem. We have to grant our own desires that we want for ourselves, and we have to believe it, and it will be. Because we understand God is within us. We don't have to go search for him. He's already within us. He's ready to pull the trigger, but he's waiting for us to believe. He's waiting for us to really believe in it and to really bring it forth, to really bring it to us. We got to believe it. You got to believe it. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. That's part of that affect. That's part of that affect mode. You gotta taste it. You gotta feel it. You gotta to act on your emotions. You gotta want to produce that change. Change for the good, not change for the bad, but change for the good. Want to change, right? We all want to change. We all constantly changing, whether we believe it or not. That's the multiplier effect. You see? How you look 20 years ago is not how you look today. That's the multiplier effect. And I mean that in a positive way. You're looking even better, Baruch Hashem, than you looked 20 years ago. And you're going to look even better 20 years from now. You're going to get better. Baruch Hashem, like a fine wine. It ages with what? With time. You're going to get better as your periods on this life and this earth continue on. That's what it's going to be. You're going to get wiser. You're going to be smarter. You're going to be more intelligent. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. That's what it is. You're right, Shazan. There's no suffering here. It's all, because why? We're multipliers, and suffering doesn't even fit into the category. Yeah, it may reveal his head, but we know how to deal with it. We know how to go through whatever comes our way, because we got the baseline, we got the foundation built, and we're planting our seeds where they need to be planted, on that fertile ground. And that's within us. That's where the fertile ground is. You can go look any place out there you want, but the fertile ground is going to be within. Now you're saying, well, Rabbi, my ground is not fertile. Then recultivate it. It needs to be recultivated. Baruch Hashem. So on that note, I'll wrap it up and say Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, shalom to all of you, Mishpachah. Have a great 6 days of labor ahead. Enjoy the Shabbat, and remember, it's all about your family, baby. The Shabbat is about you and your family. You and your family. It's not to constrict you. It's to free you and your family up. Baruch Hashem. Shabbat shalom, shalom, shalom. Over to you, Hakoim. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Okay, looks like Shabbat. Hakoim may be out. I'll close up the room. Shabbat shalom, shalom, shalom to all of you, Mishpachah. Have a great 6 days of labor ahead, okay? Enjoy yourselves. Make great memories. Be marvelous. Do marvelous things.
Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. And I'm going to close the room. So until next time, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Shalom to you.